You see us coming and you all together but for color. We'll take it over this town.
How do you come out to get your sort of full deck of characters?
We usually come up with a list that's like 80% of what we ended up being. As we write the story, we have these very detailed kind of cinematic stories that we do. The writers need characters that they can a certain amount of villains, certain amount of heroes, and we want to be able to accommodate that. And DC also joins the conversation, and then of course the passionate players who really let their points be heard on Twitter and social media.
And through the mailbox and shouting outside your house, I'm sure, and everything else.
Exactly.
We're having a look at some gameplay right here. Gorilla Grodd already going at it.
Yes, two of the new additions to our roster. Gorilla Grodd, who's the villain of the Flash, and Atrocitus, who is kind of like a big, angry, bloody Red Lantern, kind of almost like the opposite of Green Lantern. Who's Atrocitus is kind of like an anti-hero, but he's got a lot of anger issues. And but they're so far two of our big brawler characters. Grodd's kind of interesting in that he has these kind of big gorilla ape moves, but he also has kind of telekinetic moves, which is like kind of like a Kenshi or an Ermac or something like that. It's a great combination of the two.
We'll talk about the gear system in a second, but how is the fighting developed? Is it very much similar to Injustice, the first one we played 2 years ago?
The groundwork is Injustice. I mean, we're with every game we try to add layers for players to kind of learn and master. Like a lot of these. The fighting game tournaments, the hardcore guys, we're really into the whole esports thing. We've been doing with Mortal Kombat X and the first Injustice. We've been participating pretty heavily into the tournament scene, and so we've added a number of kind of like lower level stuff that some players may never quite experience, but the hardcore guys who really want to dig deep can really devour.
Talk to us a little bit about the gear system. So how does this work? Is it just like unlocks? Is it purely aesthetic?
Sure. It's gear, and probably in the simplest of terms, I would describe gear as costume pieces that actually power up your character. So when you finish a fight, we're going to have these drops where basically, and the victory screen also rewards you with this gear, and you have the choice of equipping your character with that gear or not. And so there's a molding, so to speak, of as you keep getting gear, you keep deciding if you want to use it, and you want to focus on offense or defense or enhance certain moves or unlock certain moves. And you'll see here that the gear is being rewarded, and the player has the opportunity to equip their character with that gear right away, or to kind of save it in a like a
vault, or
exactly, and then they can equip their player for certain missions or something like that if they really want to beef up their defense or offense or enhance this one move or something like that. And that kind of customization really results in visually and gameplay wise, it's your Grodd, it's your Superman, your Batman, your Aquaman, and that's really the kind of foundation of what we're building our main gameplay around.
Go for a bit.
I've got a question. Who is this rocket-powered cat that keeps flying in from
Atrocitus? He is also, Atrocitus is a Red Lantern. There's a whole spectrum of colors, and he is actually another Red Lantern. His name is Dex-Starr. It's part of the DC lore, and they're kind of they kind of work together. And so we incorporated him into the fighting. He shoots projectiles.
Oh yeah, look.
He does all these.
Oh man,
he's adorable.
He is.
And then, and we have a.
You're speaking to a good crowd here as well. The two of us are cat lovers.
Yeah, and so it's awesome. People who know the Atrocitus, kind of backstory and lore will really appreciate his cameo there.
How is the gear stuff going to play into what you were talking about earlier with esports? Are you going to lock that stuff out? Is it,
Yeah, well, certainly, with the gameplay changes are you're going to have a significantly more powerful version of Superman after you've been,
Gearing
kind of
up.
gearing him up and leveling him up. So we will obviously have something to level things out for things like tournaments and whatnot, because you don't want to have, somebody coming in with a level 50 Superman against a level 1 Batman or something like that. But we certainly have plans to do like a more level playing field version.
DC are also keeping pretty busy on their own media front. The development of Batman versus Superman, has that affected your development at all, or like even Supergirl, like what they're doing there? Has any of that sort of bled into what you're doing in Injustice?
Not sure everybody can see the screen there. What's exciting about this is we're coming back here with 3 returning characters, 3 brand new characters. Aquaman, Superman, Batman, everybody is aware of. But, the introduction of Supergirl, which is really exciting. The Flash's villain, Gorilla Grodd.
Oh, wow.
Is also a lot of fun. He plays, different than you'd expect. And Atrocitus, who is kind of like, a big, red, angry version of Green Lantern.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can think of him as that way. Red Lantern. He's the opposite of Green Lantern in almost every way. But I guess we can go ahead and start the gameplay with them and give you an idea of this new system that we're introducing in Injustice 2. With Injustice, we always say, it's big battle of the gods, huge destruction, transitions, multiple arenas. It's awesome. And with the sequel, of course, we're going to add new characters, and expand on that whole thing. But the gear system, what we're calling the gear system, is really like the foundation of what is brand new, what we're bringing to the table, differentiated from Injustice, as well as differentiating it from other fighting games.
Wow, very cool. So, like with each match that you fight, you'll be grabbing gear, or how does that work?
Yeah, so like after a fight is done, you're going to acquire some gear, and the gear actually powers up your character. So every character in the game has thousands and thousands of boots, utility belts, cowls, capes, insignias, and when you finish playing the game, it's kind of like XP. You're getting a drops of gear. Sure. And you get to actually apply them to your character, and they power your character up in different ways. Defense, your strength, your abilities that you use in the with your special moves and your health meter, and you are in a constant process of leveling up.
So
yeah.
Now, does this carry on to like online also? Like, will I be able to face Superman versus my Superman, where it's decked out differently?
Yeah, and what you said is really key. It's like your Superman,
Right.
your Batman, your Aquaman against somebody else's, and it's all personalized, and it is you literally customizing, molding your version of these characters that go up against somebody else's.
I love that idea because you see so often, there's certain characters who will be more popular than others, and you see a lot of mirror matches. But now, like you said, like you can have your, maybe I'll focus on like more offense type gear, versus maybe Swifter's defense type, gear.
Exactly.
Sounds very
You
cool.
notice here there's this big transition. You can throw your opponent into a new arena where there's a whole new palette of objects that you can actually use in the fight. That was something that really resonated with the last Injustice, and we really wanted to bring it over. And you look at these characters again, with Atrocitus. He's all about anger and hate and blood. So he has all these kind of blood moves. He can bring out the
And flying cats.
yeah. His name is Dex-Starr, and he's actually also a Red Lantern in the DC lore.
Wow.
And so Atrocitus can bring him out, use him, and he actually aids in the battle of the fight. Yeah, it's exciting. And Gorilla Grodd is all about big kind of primal moves mixed in with telekinetic moves. He's blasting them down back into the street arena where.
I was just going to say, and here we see the environmental interaction again.
Yeah,
Oh,
going
yeah.
busting through walls, bouncing off. You feel
Exactly.
the power of like these attacks.
Oh yeah, and we always describe it as like the battle of the gods, And so Grodd here is his.
Oh.
That's what I love seeing too. Just like these two brawlers beat the crap out of each other.
The variety of characters in this game is actually going to be even wider than the last one. So here is what we were talking about in terms of the gear. Like when you finish a round, your characters are leveling up. You know, you see the stats of their strength and all that. But then this gear that you're rewarded with, you know, the Curse of Rage, his new arms for Atrocitus and Grodd. Has these, you can also be awarded gear for other characters.
Yeah, I
So
just
if you want
noticed
to
it.
level up your other character. It kind of gives you an incentive to really build up the entire cast.
That is very cool.
That is all. I'm actually really, really excited about like the loot drop system and like looking at like, oh, if I face off against a man, he's got like, oh, that awesome gauntlet. Like, what am I gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
counter that or whatever.
Exactly. Or when you go online and you see somebody wearing some crazy crown, you're like, you know, where did you get that? You know, and
Exactly.
so there's a lot of you know, kind of like this big collection mechanic going on.
Oh man, when is this coming out? I'm sorry, I'm like jumping to that, but I just want to play.
No, of course.
Yeah, unfortunately, we got to wait until 2017.
Oh,
for it to come out. Yeah, but it's going to be worth the wait. You know, like we were saying. You know, there's bigger roster of characters. This whole gear stuff is going to be so exciting, and you know, just another great opportunity is, you know, with the first Injustice. You know, there's always characters who didn't get in the roster.
Of course.
And a bunch of angry people that
Right.
characters didn't get into the game. So a lot of it is satisfying those people, you know, wanted to see Atrocitus, wanted to see Super.
Yeah, comic book fans in particular can be pretty
Oh my
vocal
God.
when they are
Yeah.
not listening to.
And it's a great thing. You know, I'd rather have people passionate about it, even if passion.
that's a nice polite way to put it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. People care, and these games, of course, you know, they're fans of just, you know, Injustice itself. Like we were talking about earlier, the comic book Injustice has really taken off, and fans just love the setting, like the story that the first game brought.
Oh,
forward.
it was fantastic. It was, you know, such a great kind of summary of the events leading up to the first game. That's what was so cool about it. And yeah, he's really has anger issues.
Like you said, I love that idea that you guys you know, come from the perspective that it's like the gods, you know, like just these beings with like ultimate powers, just throwing down.
Exactly. It's kind of like thinking of, you know, you have these super powered beings all kind of assembled, and you know, a story that kind of gives them a reason to want to beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah. So, are there any changes to, like, you know, like the combo system or like the mechanics? I'm sure you guys are still kind of, you know, tweaking that, of course.
Yeah, we're always, you know, refining it. We every game we really want to add nuances that, you know, not only can be appreciated by kind of casual guys, but, you know, the hardcore fighting game guys. You know, sequel, I guess, you know, I think there's a hope and expectation that you're going to do more, bigger, better of the previous one, and we've done all that, but we really wanted to kind of come to the table with something dramatically different, and that's where we've introduced this system called a gear system into the game of already existing characters, that roster that's expanding.
So right now we're seeing the introductions. You have that smack talk. We should probably be quiet, otherwise
You
everybody's
gonna
gonna be mad.
spit up on me, Atrocitus?
Irritating thing.
You know who else does that? Babies.
So a little sass. That's back.
That's something we started actually with Mortal Kombat X. We had the characters actually talking to each other. It actually makes it feel like they're, you know, they actually know the other person is there. It's cool.
Yeah. So how many dialogue options do each character have for like their introduction?
You know what? It is in, you know, Mortal Kombat had, you know, several thousand. We're into the tens of thousands.
Like Johnny Cage alone has like 20.
Yeah, he was a great comedic relief in Mortal Kombat X. But we really feel like it's become a big part of just kind of feeling like the characters are actually there and real. Little nuances like this that we've, you know, expanded. Justice 1 didn't have it, but, you know, as far as like, you know, what's so great about this game is there were characters that inevitably were left out of Injustice 1 that, you know, really angry or passionate fans would, you know, rally for, and we're able to accommodate some of those now. You know, Atrocitus, Supergirl, Gorilla
Blue
Grodd.
Beetle.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. You're
Yeah.
actually doing votes right now for who should be in Injustice.
Yeah, occasionally I'll put something on Twitter and ask people what they think, and we're always trying to get feedback from players as to who they want to see in the game.
Speaking of characters they want to see, Black Manta. People definitely want to see that character. He is a transition right now.
Yeah. He's there's a possibility of it happening. I mean, right now we only have the 6 that we're announcing, but as we did with Injustice, we'll have a a cadence of release of announcement of characters.
So in the DC universe, people don't kill each other, but they do supers. Maybe if those guys can hear me, they'll do one really quick. Here is Atrocitus' super
Yeah, I
against
love this one.
Supergirl. In Injustice 1, one of the things in competitive play is you usually didn't do a super high-level competitive play, but they did get a little redundant. Have you added multiple supers for each character or no?
No, they don't have multiple supers. You know, some our supers and our transitions are somewhat shorter
Yeah.
than they were in the first Injustice. We still want them to be, you know, really outrageous, over the top. You know, Supergirl throwing somebody beyond the sun and hitting them with their heat vision. But we really try to kind of get them going, especially if the transitions are a little quicker.
So I just noticed her super alone did 32, and then she did something that bumped it up to 42% damage. How did that happen?
The supers are actually, there's an interactive element to our super moves now.
Okay.
And so there are opportune moments at a super that a player can press a certain button or do a different combination that will actually bump the damage up. And we're not documenting them anywhere. It's just there for people to discover, kind of like our original fatalities that were in Mortal Kombat.
And brutalities in Mortal Kombat X.
Exactly. We never document them. We just let people discover them, and it's amazing how players find that stuff. And you know, with the FAQs and all that stuff, it's suddenly documented.
Yeah. We're looking at Atrocitus and Supergirl right now. Atrocitus brings out Dex-Starr. What is Supergirl's power when activated?
Supergirl is her heat vision. She can fire off a number of individual shots, and she can vary them up. And so she's a very good kind of distance character, but her heat vision is her main kind of power that she uses.
Got it. So we show the level transitions. The level interactables are back. We have some of the balls in the middle there that you can swing off of, or do you throw them down? Okay, it looks like you throw them down. And yeah, so we've looked at these two characters. We're going to check out some of the new guys in just a second.
Yeah, we can check out Gorilla Grodd and maybe a character like Superman or something.
Yeah.
Sleep some